Hello, my name's John, and I'm a storyteller. I love stories. I hope you do as well. And I've got lots of wonderful stories to tell you. I've actually produced a website with all these stories on, www.biblestorycards.co.uk. You can see all my stories. I'm also a bit of a painter, and so I paint pictures to help me tell my stories. I hope you enjoy them. Actually, the story that I want to tell you today is found in the Bible. There are stories that Jesus told. He was the best storyteller ever. But there are stories about him as well. And this is a story about him. Let me start by asking you a question. You see this fellow here, this fat, juicy caterpillar? Well, the question I want to ask you is this. How do you teach a caterpillar to fly? Here's a suggestion. You could get some thin wire, and you can get some tissue paper, and you could make a set of little wings. Get some cotton and tie it on to the caterpillar. Then go up into your bedroom, open the window, and throw the caterpillar out and see if he can fly. I don't think that's going to work somehow, do you? But here's another suggestion. Find a bird cage. After all, birds fly, don't they? And if you put the caterpillar in among the birds, it might get the idea that I could do that as well. The only problem with that is that birds tend to eat caterpillars, don't they? So that wouldn't work either. Or you could say, it's impossible. You can't get a fat thing like that to fly. It's just impossible. Well, the story that I've got to tell you shows that it is possible. You could leave the caterpillar in a nice, quiet, dark place and wait. And you will find that it becomes a new creation. The word that is used for that in the Bible is the word metamorphosis, which means changing from one thing to another. A more beautiful thing, like this beautiful butterfly. Well, here's the story. It's all about friends. You've got friends, haven't you? And I guess you enjoy being together as friends. But the story I've got to tell you is about a man who had no friends at all. And there was a good reason for that. People used to make fun of him, I think, because he was very small. But worst of all, he was what they called a tax collector. The Romans were in charge of the country, and they needed money to pay their soldiers and to pay for their palaces. And so they used to take taxes from people. That's money. And the only way they could get the taxes was to give the job to somebody like this man. His name was Zacchaeus, but let's call him Zach, shall we? And people hated Zach because the Romans said, you get the taxes from the people, and if you want to take a bit more from them, that's up to you. Well, of course, Zach did that. So he was actually stealing from people. And nobody liked him because of that. But then he heard that Jesus had come to the town where he lived, which is called Jericho. And a most remarkable story got to Zach, because he heard that Jesus had met this man who was completely blind from his birth, and when Jesus came and touched his eyes, he was able to see, a miracle. And Zach said, I've got to see this man. But he couldn't get near to Jesus because, as I say, he was so small. And nobody would give him a chance to get through. But he was clever, you see, so he thought, if I run ahead of where Jesus is coming and climb up a tree, I can get a perfect view. And nobody will see me, especially Jesus. So I can see him, but he can't see me. So that's what he did. He went along and climbed up into this tree. And Jesus was walking by. And to Zach's great surprise and amazement, stopped at the base of the tree, looked up into the branches and said, "Zach, come down here. I'm coming to your house today." What, Jesus coming to my house? Nobody likes me. I've got no friends. So Zacchaeus climbed down the tree as quick as he could, and he and Jesus went to his house. Beautiful house it was, very expensive, lots of lovely furniture in there, but the door was closed and the crowd were outside. I wonder what went on in that house. I'd like to know. Let me just use my imagination for a minute. I think there was a conversation occurred, and perhaps Jesus said to Zach, "Nice house you've got here, Zach." "Yes, cost me a lot of money." "Where did you get your money from, Zach?" "Oh, from my job." "What is your job?" "Oh, taking money for the government." "Is that all you do?" said Jesus. "Well, sometimes I take a bit for myself as well." "Do you think that's right?" said Jesus. And suddenly, Zacchaeus felt all bad inside. You know, like you do when somebody tells you something you've done that's wrong. Well, the door opened and out came Jesus and Zacchaeus. But this time, Zacchaeus had some bags of money in his hands. And he shouted to the people and said, "If there's any of you are poor and haven't got any money, the money I've stolen from you, well, you come here and I'll give you it back. But I'll give you 4 times as much as I took from you." People were astonished. How do you make a greedy thief into a good man, a generous man? Well, it's a bit like the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, isn't it? But that's what Jesus does when he meets people. He makes them into a new person, a new man. And everybody said, "How has this happened?" And then Jesus said, "I tell you, this man is now saved. Saved from his greedy, selfish life to become a new person." Do you know, when you really meet Jesus, that is what happens inside you. I hope that's happened to you.